Okay, so we're looking at things from a P5 perspective. Bottom string here. This is the inverse of the C shape. Here's your C chord coming down, mirror image here. So here's your P4 string shape for C. 5 root 3, 5, and then we don't have our D shape up here on the top of the C shape. You know how you have to kind of finger target that. That's our familiar C. We love that C, right? We love our C. Where that had to bring that note up one. We don't have that D shape up there anymore with P4. So this is just on paper. We don't really tune our guitars to that, lest you have to tune it right back soon before anyone finds out. I did try tuning like that. You don't want to. Additionally, you've got to tune the E string up one and the B string up one. That's not bad, but if you're going to do a minor third stretch on it, you're probably going to pop the string. There's just no reason to leave a guitar in P4 tuning, but it's good to know the pattern stack. Okay, so we just make the tuning adjustment between the G and the B string. So here we're getting to the crux of the lesson today, and that is, here's our P5E shape. We're going to define it now. We got an open root, open 5. Okay, go ahead, one cage shape. We're going to have a D minor shaped. Now I'm going to talk about this because we're running out of time. We're going to have a D minor shaped A minor, because remember, a head one cage shape is still going to give you the relative minor. But remember, we started with C, so that's an A minor. So really we're looking at an A minor shape, but the problem is that this right here is no longer warped over the way it was like this. This is what it looks like on guitar. Here's your A minor shape, right? Would anybody argue? If we had a capo right there, if we had the fret nut right there, it's kind of like a thin fret nut. Let's see if we could thicken that up. So we had a fret nut right there. Would anybody argue that that's an A minor shape? Is it not? Is it not? Let's put a capo on the E. We're going to hit that C only one semitone up. Yeah. I almost kind of like messed that A minor up. So that's what we have here. All right, so we have our A minor shape, but now, what is it? It looks like that now. It looks more like an E minor, because everything in P5 tuning looks like an E or an E minor. Okay, it's just, how does it march across the fretboard as we go down the conveyor belt kind of thing? How does it look as new parts of that shape come in? And we can look at that P5 stack. I guess our best bet to look at the P5 stack would be looking at the modal. So we've got root 5, 3, root 5. You see how it kind of marches along? And then from 5, we go to 3 again. So we've seen that in previous charts. Okay, so we're looking back at like 472. So we have this same shape kind of marching through right here. It just keeps repeating. And depending on where that shape comes in on P5 defines the shape. We don't have the tuning third to give the cage shapes unique shapes like D and A, D and A, and what have you. You know, A minor and things like that, and D minor. So these are the shapes. They are the inverse of perfect P4. Okay, in the minor shapes, these are the minor shapes, and it just depends on the window. So if I took this right here, okay, now ear from view, we got a little more flexibility in selecting the here's a plug for ear from view. Okay, in selecting this thing. Now the 3 goes to root there, okay, but we don't have another root. Well, we have this. We have this much. Okay, so from the 3 we can go to the root, and we can do one of these things. Okay, so that we could just keep building this thing and building it and building it. Okay, and it keeps going up, and then at that point we have, maybe we're looking at this inversion, maybe we're looking at this, maybe we're looking at this, these 3, maybe we're looking at these 3 again. Okay, that didn't work out too good because I can't adjust the square size. But so these things are going up and down the fretboard as we look at our chord that we're looking for. So here we got, let's say, root 5, 3, root 5, and then we go to 3, it comes in here, so it marches across there, and then we got 3, 3 root 5, 3 root, and then from 5 we got 5. Okay, from 5 it goes that whole step over and up to 3, so it's 5 root 3. See how it marches across? The same thing, root 5, 3, root 5, 3, root 5, 3, root. And these are the positions where it actually lands. So let's look at those positions. All right, so we're going to look at these positions. This is the best I've got so far with CAGED. We define the E position right here. The E position, root 5, 3 root 5. Now we're going to do the D position. So it's E, D, C, A, G. If we were to capo the 3rd, okay, here the D position starts on the 3rd because we're going root 3, 5. We're going to play the 3rd just like on the guitar. Just like on the guitar when we play the D position, okay, if we're playing just a triad, we're going to start on the 3rd there. All right, so that's why you see the 3rd, but the D position starts on the 2. Okay, and you can go ahead and capo that. It's usually that's capoed. It's not terrible because E is the 2nd of D. Okay, so, or D is the 2nd of C actually. So this is the D position on. Now we put the capo on the 2 here. So first we have, remember we did have our E position right here, which is fairly easy to play. This is CAGED on P5 right here, P5E. Okay, and then you just have to make a little minor adjustment for the minor to make this shape here, 6, 3 root and 3. Okay, now we're going to move it on up to the 2nd, referencing it now to P5's bottom string. So it's to the 2nd now, just like in CAGED. When we're going to a D shape, what do we have here? It moves over here, and we're going to also bar these top 2. Okay, so we got a nice chord here. Okay, and it's an open. Notice I have all 5 in that D shape there. I got 3, 5 root here. I could lift my pinky and play that 3rd.